Hi, and welcome to the New Property Show. I'm Steve McMenamin. What's on the show today, Tony?
Well, Steve, Roney talks about his venture into property. Our panel discusses who's been their greatest inspiration on their property journey. But first, Henry on several aspects on investing.
Henry, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with what got you into property?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. So for me, it was like for many other investors, it was that search of that sort of mythical financial freedom. However, I have a particular view around financial freedom because people think it's some magic number that when you achieve it, you kind of put your hands up and go and celebrate. And the reality is financial freedom is different things for different people. In my case, was about quitting my job in the corporate world and spending more time with my family. But for other people, it might be something different. It might be an extra $10,000 to be able to kind of travel, or it might be just go to part-time hours. It really depends on who they are.
It's a whole different concept, really. At the end of the day, and I agree with you. They think it's the money. Some people just want to play more golf. For myself, I want to be in control of my own time. I think the most important thing is if you need a day off, you don't have a boss to answer to.
Absolutely.
And you can structure your day, but it's built around that. And obviously you've got a passion for property, but that's the end product. But it's you can turn up to a job and you work constantly. You're almost like a project manager.
Absolutely.
Is what I would say it. So with that said though, there's obviously a lot of factors, okay? Factors being, what are some of the success steps that are most important, and what are some of the processes involved? Now you've got all this time, what do you need to do?
Yeah, and you're completely right. I think one of the things that you discover once you become kind of financially free and once you get the freedom of choice is sometimes you end up choosing some of the same things, right? I don't believe in early retirement. I'll probably kill myself if I had nothing else to do. But you end up doing things because you want to. And I find most people do property for one of three reasons. And most of them should really be doing it for all three. The first one is the money, right? We all investing in property because we want to get ahead in life and we want to create wealth. And that's obviously super, super important. But the second factor is effort. And for me, is how you make that money with the least amount of effort possible. Rather than making it so you're just changing one job for another, is try to reduce the amount of effort that wealth creation exercise takes. And the third one is one that I found much later in my property career, if you like, and we call it investor safety. It's kind of actually one of the most important ones for me and my business. And it's how do we make sure that people who are invest in properties are investing in the right vehicle that provides them certainty about providing some of those outcomes and doing it in a way that is consistent with their own kind of moral compass, right? Can they invest when they're actually making a difference to society, how they can invest when they're actually creating value for others. And that's kind of what I've been doing for a while.
And obviously there's obviously values that you've learned. So now obviously, and they're the three important ones, and they're the basics, and that's fantastic. Obviously you've got to make sure that the whole vehicle, which is the money, the effort, and of course in the right vehicle. What are you following now that's different? Because obviously you're teaching this, and there's a trail behind you.
Yes.
But what are your factors now? What are you looking for in deals?
Yeah, that's right. And it's interesting that you kind of mentioned that because there's obviously, when obviously for us, cash flow is one of those main drivers, right? And I'm pretty sure over kind of future occasions, we'll talk about that quite a fair bit. But we do it in a way that is a little bit different to what most people do out there, right? There's a lot of people in this sort of rooming house, co-living industry who are out there selling courses and teaching people how to do. The people that end up working with us and the way we see the really, really successful people in property do is they don't want to learn how to do this stuff. They don't want to have to do these things. They ultimately want to work with the right team that can take care of everything from A to Z in a way that kind of gives them the outcome, right? And that's kind of one of the ways kind of we work with them, right? There's a very, very specific process that makes sure that all the elements of of the strategy get put in place in a way that ultimately provides a lot of certainty around getting the outcome without ultimately having any of the hassle.
So you've had obviously a lot of success stories, and obviously we're going to cover this, but you've had a lot of success. You actively invest in property yourself.
Absolutely.
You do your own developments. I'm lightly hearing the word community in here as well.
Yep.
Building that out. But let's just summarise that now. So for a customer or potential client that's watching, what is it you do for them?
Yep.
And how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, listen, there's obviously a number of things, number of elements that we kind of play in, all in that high cash flow space. We are probably one of the only specialist builders of rooming houses in Victoria, maybe in the country. But we started with that as a core, and then we created a system and a process that delivers these processes at scale for investors without them having to carry any of the effort. So effectively, we have a strategy piece and a design piece where we design the property, then we go and physically build it. We don't go and hire builders. We are a building company ourselves. And once our property is finished, then we go and provide kind of affordable rental accommodation to the community.
Seems quite simple, like 1, 2, 3. So you're engaging with the client, you're doing the project, you're making sure the client gets the end result with tenants included.
Absolutely.
And you repeat the process. It's so simple. I cannot wait to investigate this a little bit further about some of your thoughts on rooming houses, land development and all that on our next episode.
Absolutely.
But last thing here, somebody watching, what's the one piece of advice you should give a up-and-coming 21 to 25-year-old?
Listen, the earlier you start, the sooner you get to where you want to get. And also don't necessarily accept the preconceptions that the market is pushing on you around how to invest. Different people invest for different reasons. And it's fun if you're a 20-something-year-old and what you want to do is fund your annual trip to Bali or to Europe. That's a perfect way to kind of have a look at property. As you progress down life, those things will probably change, and it'll become about freedom, it'll become about family, it'll become about choices. So that's perfectly fine.
I'm not anti the Bali trips. I've done enough buy sells in the time, but I can tell you one thing, I wish I kept them.
Yeah, that's it.
Definitely. Henry, you've been a great guest. Look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks again for joining us on Your Property Show.
Can't wait till next time.
Thank you. Roney, welcome to the New Property Show. Great to have you on as a guest. One of the reasons you're here today, mate, is I've been seeing you all over my social media channels, and I'm like, I have to have this absolute legend in. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much for having me and a team. And I'd love to, I always, I never, to be honest, want to miss the opportunity, because back in days, working hard, and I'm coming from fitness background. So I used to work at a Crown, and I was a bodyguard with big names, and I always I'm tired, I don't want to go there, don't want to meet up people. And now I started my own business, and the links are very important.
One advantage that you've done, and what I'm hearing straight away, is 1, you've built the community. 2, it started off with fitness. 3, you didn't lead in with property. But more importantly, likable, and that's important because charisma, that is real estate. But you didn't come in with a limiting belief, whether it was because it's probably easier to sell a $4 million property than it is a $600,000. Reason for it is the quality of people are different. Okay, it's $600,000. Everybody wants a crack, but there's so much more on the market, and they're really shopping around.
But see, the property I sell it off the market. It's not like advertising off the market. So it's hard to selling property off the market. You got to use your links. Any investors. So now this is how I started when the real estate started. People can come from overseas. You can, they're looking for invest from Singapore, back from Punjab, people from Canada. I got a good friend back in England. They, so they slowly get in there. Another question mark. Again, question mark. But I loved it. Everyday challenge. And the problem in the starting was just, it was a bit confused. Is it really my money? So you're just selling a property and 120K, boom, straight commission. And I'm like, nah, there's a mistake. And it's your money. Nah, no way. and you just set up for your next, now, you know, before I was like, I want one listing.
Yeah.
A month. Need one listing. And when you know what you're doing, what you're selling, your product, and who you want to sell it, how you want to sell it, it's same like my programs, brother.
Yeah.
Exactly as a fat loss, lean gain, you know, a super bulk. Just want everything is, I just in my head is programs.
That's buyer, seller, vendor. So it's essentially and transaction and result. It's 1, 2, 3. It's, as you said, it's simple. Everything
and
you've
Steve,
learned.
on my way, brother, I met so many people. All the brokers come. All these people I used to party with, you know, back in days. Someone managing this bank. He's a broker of that. Yeah. He's an owner of this. And I was just like, man, everything was around me. Have no idea, like, you know, knocking the door. And now since I started, mate, just wake up in the morning.
What about talking about now let's go on to sales. Let's talk about your daily grind, the stuff that nobody wants to talk about, the good and the bad days, okay? Yep. Sometimes you're just calling, no results, okay? And then you get a win. Talk to us about that. How do you push through that?
I always talk about like, this real estate is very easy game for me. Yeah. And people who work it out, they're very easy game. But if you know everyday goals, it's a real estate. Not wearing a suit and showing your flashy cards or the car. It's not a business, you know. The business is, so one day you're driving a nice Bentley. If you're really that, you know, flashy, you got to be something next day. Yeah. If you're attracting, this is all marketing, brother. And no one knows the debts, what they got. But anyway, we're not going to talk about that. So, you know the calls? Yeah. We're going to make a phone call and, you know, door knocking. I hate that.
The grind.
And the guy who teach me, my mentor, he was like, you know what? You got to do it, mate. And I'm like, all right, sounds good. But I'm still inside nervous, man. Like, you know, my head is a bit different. So anyway, he sit down next to me. He want to see my anger, like, so I'm making phone calls. I called some dude and I don't know, he was from Mornington side. Yeah. I call him and say, you know, my name is Roney, I'm calling from RS Real Estate. Yeah. And I'm just, you know, got a property in your street. Yeah. And I got a buyers. Yeah. So, you know that script?
Yeah, I know.
Mate, this script. Anyway, so he started on me like, mate, I got angry, bro. Like, first time someone yelled on me on the phone, you know, and I was like, but I'm like, yep, no worries, sir. I'll call you back. Yeah. I'll call you again. I'll call you tomorrow. I'll call you day after. Maybe his day was not good, you know, it was a shit day gone through. So after 2 weeks, I called again, guy, you know, I'm going to call him again. I called him. Hey, do you remember me, brother? Yeah. How are you? Sword. You know, so he was like, mate, I told you I'm not interested. But why I'm calling, the time I was calling, he asked me a few questions where it sounds like he's looking for someone to sell a property in the market, you know. So I was like, you know what, there's a 50-50 chances. Yeah. So, all right, no worries. I'll call you again, you know. Thomas. Yeah. So I'll call you again. So
hey, Thomas.
So after a month, call again on Saturday, like around evening. Hey, Thomas, how you doing, brother? Just catching up with mates. Want to come for a drink? Yeah. You're like, who's this? Like, it's me, Ronnie, from the RS Real Estate. Yeah. Like, you fucking blah, blah, blah. You know what? All right, where are you guys? I'm like, I'm here at a pier, Frankston. Come down, brother. Let's chat. Let me help you. Yeah. Let me help you. He said, you know what, I was dealing with the other guy before. He charging me this much, you know. I don't want to pay this much. I said, listen, I'm not talking about money. Yeah. Come down. So he came and I bring his property in the market, brother.
Wow.
You know.
Good work.
If I go first straight aggressive, like fucking, you know. Yeah. And I was like, I'm not going to get any listing, nothing. But now I learned that. I go through the calls, like make us, can you believe how many calls? I got no time for people who waste my time. You know, this is what I learned. Got no time for those people who have no respect for himself. And this is a pure business now. So any phone call or text message, a pure business. Your phone call, straight away, I'm in, Steve.
Love it.
No wasting of time. You send me the details, I am here.
And you're here.
You know? So I know that what I'm getting from here. You know? So what happened, I called the guy, everything done, bring a property in the market. He referred me another mates.
Love it.
You know? So he got 2 acres in Mount Martha. So we try and crash the deal.
Yeah.
But I work hard. Right? 12 hours, 13 hours, 14 hours. Sometimes people who just want to party. And I know that I'm getting business from there. I don't drink, but I still go there.
Yeah.
Just spend the time in touch. So these little things, people thinking like, oh, now, you know what, now is another challenge, making a phone call. And I know that like a lady, there was a house in the queue, and she work in city somewhere. So I just straightforward with her. I was like frustrated, you know. Sometimes you got frustrated. I called her. Hello, how are you? You know, I said, listen, it's a cold call. You can hang up now. We'll need you 20 seconds. She said, I said, all right, thanks for the 20 seconds. You know, I said, look, you want to sell prep?
Yeah.
I got a buyers. And I do have buyers. I'm not throwing like other people. I got the people I hang out with, all the builders, developers, and all the businessmen. And I've been Indian Punjabi background. My people, they hold a lot of money, but they don't know how to, you know, put it on the right path.
Of course.
So here I am. So I'm like, you know what? I got a buyer. So my buyer is from Gujarat. Yeah, just back from, you know, India, and I'm like, I'm going to bring it to him. She was like, look, I'll call you back. So it's like, you know, it works, but it's hard work too.
I guess last question for you too is, we're here today, you've talked about, so congratulations first of all, you've positioned yourself, you've done the work, you've caught on a lot of things that people don't understand, which is really you've built a network, okay? You don't know how to take no for an answer, you show up when you need to, you do the extra miles, you're building now your own brand, obviously here as well. What's your team look like? Because I think team's also important. Obviously you're representing, there's only one Roney, all right? That's definitely true. What does that look like for you in a couple of years? Where's your brand going to be?
My brand, I got my own brand, which is, they call it Sanjat. Sanjat, we support farmers, you know, all around the world. Because of providing a food for us, you know. So I respect hard work and everything. So this is how we call a brand Sanjat. And from there, it's a big company, and the company working with the RS Real Estate. Got subs 24/7 my stores. I got my RS Sanjat clothing. So I got a couple of businesses working. Got my cafe, you know, everything. So my team look like. So I got very small team. So we 5 people in the team. I got my broker. I got my accountant. I got my good friend sitting right here with me. He look after all the commercial in Australia. All right. So he got a big links. He's a Shepton background, big, you know. I got 2 girls with me. They're on the phone. Very smart. No wasting of time. No. That's my team. And the team is any deal crack. And we're going through, when they come to the money, I give them a chunk.
Perfect.
Here. Not everything put in my own pocket. And that's why, like, all these youngsters, they're like, Ronnie, brother, I want to work with you. I'm like, look, anything comes up, you be the first one. You know? But what do you reckon, Steve? A team be like that, like no wasting of time, man. And
I think it's a solid team.
You know how many people, they lose the business, the real estate, all these agents, they lose the business because you want to sell your property or you want to buy your property, there's a name there, a number there, you're going to make a phone call, they will never answer. Never answer. And me, I got pissed off when they're not answering. I'm like, you're doing a job. But when they need it, they will chase you, like, you know. But the first thing is, if someone coming to you, the trust is very important. And teaching and putting it in the right way. Guidance, very important. It's not everything about money.
Do you see yourself last extra bonus question for you. Do you see yourself leading to being an auctioneer?
I love to, and I'm working on it.
Because I can see that for you.
I'm working on it.
When you ask me a question about what I say, I'm actually going to give you an answer. You ready?
No.
I see you building out a couple of offices. I see you having a great base. I see you doing sales training. I see your other businesses being offsets. I also see you speaking on stage. I think there's a great story to be told, but really success leads clues. I think the thing that's going to happen for you next is the deals are going to get bigger.
Are you reading my cards?
I am reading your cards. Give me your hands.
Nah, look, hey, Steve, you know what? Honestly, it's all the work, man. Where we started.
Yeah.
I always say to all my fellow mates, mate, coming from a different country with $700.
Yeah.
And, end of the day, I start a business, didn't work it out, what I'm going to lose? Nothing.
The big thing is now, as I said, this is on camera. It's documented. I'm going to have you back here in 1 year.
All right.
And we're going to do a recap.
Lock it in, bro.
We're locking it in. 1 year from now, we're going to see where you're at. We want to see your biggest deal, your success, and we want to hear what you've overcome. And I'd like you to bring some of your team onto the new property show.
Beautiful.
Ronnie, you've been an amazing guest. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much, Steve.
And thank you for showing up. God bless.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's debate, but let's call this one a topic. We touch on a lot of serious things on this program, but I think belief, having the right coach, and I think having the right mentorship is important, but really having your own set of standards and personal development is really important. Obviously, you're all very successful at what you do, but there's people that you must lean into outside of the industry that sort of helped you get where you are. For me, it's myself. I've got a series of different coaches, but I'd love to hear from you. Who have you met along your journey that's really inspired you to be the best person, and who is that person for you now? Who's up?
I can go first. Back in the day, I was involved heavily with Brian Tracy. I'm not sure whether you guys know who Brian Tracy is, but I had a training and development company and was a registered training organisation for 5 years, and in the training space for 10, and became a Master Brian Tracy International Trainer. Brian Tracy, for people who don't know him, he's written 56 best-selling books in the market, and he was really, his programs, the Psychology of Achievement, was one of the best programs that I have ever listened to. And then obviously he's got multiple books, and then leadership, leadership, and then sales management. So I did a lot of personal development. So he'd be my guru, without a doubt.
Fantastic. And obviously he's the backbone of what you're doing now. And obviously in your industry, sales is still obviously important.
Yep.
But had you not listened to that, you'd be in a totally different direction.
100%. Selling is a profession. At the end of the day, selling is not telling. You'll never listen your way out of a sale, but you'll always talk your way out of a sale. And it's really about relationships and problem solving.
Okay. Avanthi?
That's great. For me, I came to Australia as a migrant 15 years ago. New to the country, new to the people, new to the culture. One of my mentors was John Collard, who was a principal solicitor of one of the legal firms I worked with. I was with him for about 6 years. He was a lawyer with a 30-plus year of practice. He was one of those gentlemen who was super sharp at 74, had an answer for any legal question you would throw at him, had so much knowledge and was so willing to teach, was so willing to learn every day. He would learn something new and he would come and share it with us. Put us on the spot by randomly asking us questions and say, you need to go and read more, love. But he was just a fantastic mentor to have for a new lawyer. And I think I've taken that with me. I've learned an enormous amount in those 6 years, and that's really given me a solid foundation in my career.
Would you agree that a really good way to learn is actually via teaching? That's the best way to actually learn, is to learn it and then teach it to someone else?
Yes, I think your mentor plays, at the beginning of your career, whoever your mentor is, plays an important part of who you are later in your career. If you have a fantastic mentor who is so generous with their knowledge and so generous with teaching you the ropes and really guiding you in that career, you would be that mentor to someone else because you've been taught how to do it. So I think, it's really important to get that generous mentor who will teach you how to navigate your career successfully.
Beautiful.
over here?
Well, the design industry is so broad. I studied industrial design at RMIT, and I remember I had 2 lecturers that just opened my eyes to a world. And one of them was called Barry Hudson, and he was our technology teacher, and it was the most boring subject. You know, everybody used to just ditch and just like didn't want to hang around. But I used to just hang on every word that man said, because he just explained things in such the most amazing way. You know, essentially everything's built from the ground up, and always be interested in how things are made and how you can improve quality of life through design and not add to the woes of the world with pollution and landfill, and creating things that are needed and essentially helping humans live better lives. And so that's why I do what I do. And the other lecturer was Cal Grant, who was our furniture design teacher. So again, joinery, etc. But these 2 men kind of molded my thinking in a way that it was just beyond the object and the aesthetic. It was more than that. It was the emotional aspect. It was how it's made, how it's going to die, how it's going to be recycled, just thinking beyond. And I think that as a mentor for me, it was so profound. It's like they taught me how to think for myself and how to really imagine what the future could be like. And so that for me is worth more than anything in the world.
It's amazing those lessons you get.
Yeah. And the other plug I need to give is my husband, because he teaches me lots of new things every day. I got to give him a plug. He's a good guy.
What's his name?
Ibrahim. He's gorgeous.
Hello there.
So yeah, he's my backbone, and I couldn't do what I do without him. But look, like these people they come into your life to kind of plant the seed, but then it's your job, like you said, to teach others. And so you're bearing this fruit. And so everybody has an opportunity to learn the same thing. So you got to pay it forward whenever you can.
I think that's one of the things we talk about in the property industry is we've all had mentors, but it's teaching, but being around the right people and also different times of our life. But it really does come down to, I understand we create a product, but it comes down to the people that we have around us. And of course, there's also those people that we go home to at night that we've had a good or a bad day that we talk to, because there is certainly challenges, I can say that. Yeah. I haven't had a guest on here that hasn't faced a serious challenge. And that's why it's so important that when you are investing in property and also pursuing a business and you're leading from the front, that you understand where those values are, because if you're going to do business with people, you need to know where those values sit and who they've learnt off. Helena, over to you.
I guess for me it's been a number of different people. From a property perspective, probably one of the bigger people that has had an influence on me has been Dipna Boholt, who is part of I Love Real Estate. That's her business, I guess. And I met her many years ago now, 15 years ago, and learnt a lot from her at the time. And from there it's met lots of other people. From there it went more into, that was all the technical stuff around property, all different strategies, working out what you'd want to try, what could work, what won't work, or what's not for you. It's more personalised. And then from there, the people in the networks within those groups, they were invaluable, meeting lots of professional people, as well as other people that are like-minded that you can work with, do projects with. And then from there, a lot more personal development. After a few years, I got more into doing that. And that was a mixture of all different people. Melissa Scott, she's in Queensland. She does a lot of personal development. She's exceptional. Also, I've done a lot of Joe Dispenza work, which gone to some of his 7-day workshops, which have been quite enlightening, very different, but very much, very mind-altering, very, very, very interesting. We control everything we think, everything that goes through our mind really creates what happens to us, where we're at. So a lot of personal development, lots of other people that I've read books, gone through, done different online workshops, bought different bits and pieces. Brian Tracy, familiar with his work as well, started that many years ago, went through some of that, a lot of his stuff too. Wayne Dyer, all of those people that have got a lot to really give as far as information and how to see the world and how to see everything around you, really.
It's phenomenal too. The thing I really want to add there is everything right now is at our fingertips, but imagine going back 30, 40 years ago and writing 56 books and your name's still talked about. Look, I think we're all quite powerful as we sit here, but we're not writing those books. We've imparted that information. But I guess the key lesson is here too is we have to be very careful with what we say. And it's up to us to leave the world in a better place. And hence why you guys are guests on this show, because I think you're the best of the industry. I think you do deliver ethical business. I think that everything's done there. But that's all stemmed from good leadership and qualities, and you've taken the time to invest in yourself. So, as I said, I want to acknowledge it for this panel is the amount of work that you've put in and what you're delivering. And also remember, this is not the end of the road. We have an ability to teach others, and that's the lesson I want to share. And for any of the young viewers watching today, make sure you read the books, you get around the right people, and ask yourself, who's your mentor? And who do I need to get to know? These guys are real people. Reach out to our guests, apart from Mark. No, he's real. But sales facilitators and trainings and that sort of stuff as well. But all our guests are accessible, okay? So reach out and do that. But want to thank you. It's a different topic, but personal development is important, and having the right people. But more importantly, leave it with this. Find one person that believes in you, and that's all you need. And believe in yourself. Thank you. That's it. That's all for this week, and thank you for joining us. If you want to see the full interviews, check out our website, thenewpropertyshow.tv, and we'll see you again next week.